All right, Spurs win 139-109. Uh, Pretty much a blowout, like throughout
Yeah.
the game. The Minnesota thought, they had some good runs getting into it, but the Spurs just proved that they were way too much. Rob, that's Rob. I'm John. This is Buckets Board and his banner. Rob, what do you think about this game, man? Minnesota, like with Game 6. We thought it was going to be a really close game, hard fought, but even at the end, it was what 6, 7, 8 minutes left, and they just kind of put their third string in. So,
Yeah.
how do you feel about this game, man?
Um, statement game for the Spurs. I think. First round series closed out in 5. Obviously, game 4 they lose. Game 5 blowout in San Antonio. Now another blowout. I thought really big statement, man. They started strong. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
the Wolves cut it after the lead got past 15. I think the Wolves cut it to 12 a couple times, but it never felt in jeopardy. Like the Spurs just felt like fully in control. And I think at points where you feel like, man, the Spurs are on a run right now, it just felt like they continued that pace, like they just set it, and I don't think they ever looked concerned with it, even when
Yeah,
it got cut to to 9 possibly, right? Like they were in control fully. Randall for Minnesota continued to just have a horrible shooting, postseason. Gobert pretty much played himself out of the rotation, and I think like it just wasn't enough for Ant to go in and do it. He finished with what did he finish with tonight? Sorry, I just had his points still low, but he, again, I just think he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it on the bad knees, and I think the bright spot for them tonight was Terrence Shannon, right? Like that kid can get downhill and get to the rim, but they just didn't have enough. And the Spurs seemed like they were just rolling, man. De'Aaron Fox played really well. Stephon Castle with 32 points and started the first quarter with 15 points in the quarter. I'll say offensively, right? Like Wemby didn't really do a ton, but
yeah,
continued to just dominate the boards, dominate defensively for them. But he didn't get into motions where he's trying to like beat Rudy off the dribble. I think he took what he could get, and a lot of times he just found himself down low, hit free throws. And then I think every single quarter you just found halfway through the Spurs were in the bonus, right? Like Minnesota just continued to try to play physical. I think the just what hurt them this series is they wanted to play physical in just the wrong ways. Like McDaniels has so many fouls where he clearly is not going to get the rebound from someone and will just
Mhm.
grab them or wrap them up or hug them. And so he took himself out of it. I thought he had a great spurt there in the third quarter to start it, after like a really horrendous first half. But man, the Spurs just stayed steady with it. I think
Yeah,
what you love to see is like the Cornet minutes have hurt them in the playoffs at times, and I thought they were really good today with those. And the non-Ant minutes were really disastrous for the Wolves outside of like Terrence Shannon. So, again, Spurs the 2 seed, they were the better team. I don't think anyone would have realistically picked the Wolves over them except for Kendrick Perkins possibly. After game 1, but really solid showing, man. And Dylan Harper just continues to impress. Like he is an amazing player. The next round, seeing him and AJ Mitchell go at it off the bench is going to be good. So,
yeah, man. Hey, you mentioned Kendrick Perkins, man. All right, so like this dude identified the San Antonio Spurs as a legitimate contender way before, and I'm gonna go off a little bit of what you said with like, I'm gonna go off kilter here. So he identified the Spurs as a team that was basically, no one would dare to say that the Spurs can win this championship this year, and he was one of the ones that did. Okay, but after the first game of
yeah.
this series, he said, "You know what? I'm picking the Minnesota Timberwolves. They just got these dogs.
A 2 point loss. A 2 point
It
loss.
was a 2 point loss. All right, and like Wimby was historically
0 for
bad.
8. 0 for 8 from 3.
Yeah, so he picked the Timberwolves, and you're just thinking about I kind of consider it like with the stock market or like crypto or whatever it has. You have diamond hands and you got weak hands. Kendrick Perkins was weak hands here. All right. He identified it early. He said that they were going to win the championship here. And then after game 1, he said, "All right." He jumped off ship. He picked someone else. All right. So you know what happens when you identify something early and I don't know. He identified, Microsoft. He identified Amazon. He identified Bitcoin. And then as soon as they had a little bump in the road here, he sold. He sold. And you know what happens to those products? Bitcoin,
Yeah.
Microsoft, Amazon. They go parabolic, man, and they end up winning. And he ends up looking crazy because one of the biggest things, if you're one of those guys that just sells when you know something's gonna go big, you just have a lot of regret. And that's what he did, man. Like you can't do that.
Yeah.
Um, um, looking at the stats here, Edwards, he did his thing. He had 24 points in 36 minutes. Nas Reed, he seems to always hit a three, but
He's a hooper, man. Nas Reed is a hooper.
I was like, don't leave that guy open, but he always hits those open threes. He had 18 points in 32 minutes, and then after that, it was really like, who's left? Shannon. That guy Shannon for Minnesota.
Played really well. He played really well.
Oh yeah,
But
he's
if
he's
I'm the Spurs though, and I'm
Yeah.
choosing between Terrence Shannon shooting an open three, I'm good. If that's the offense that Minnesota's gonna push out to us, awesome. Like
Yeah.
he
he's
played
always
really good downhill, but if he's gonna be the guy shooting for you, yep, we're good.
You're gonna let him shoot, but the guy always gets what he wants, like driving to the lane, and
Yeah,
he'll
yeah.
trouble. But after that, so you had Edwards at 24, you got Nas Reed with 18, you got Terrence Shannon with 21, and then after that, you had Jaden McDaniels with 13. But he shot 4 for 13, so he wasn't really efficient.
I think
Julius
he had nine of his
Julius
13
Randle,
in the third.
yeah, Julius Randle was 1 for 8, 1 for 8, 3 points in 24 minutes.
Wow.
Julius Randle's supposed to be that one of them dudes. He should be like one or two options on his team. 1 for 8, 3 points. What do you do with that?
He was being guarded at times by De'Aaron Fox, and Fox is crazy on the perimeter. You can't be 6'9", 220 and score 3 points with mostly being guarded by De'Aaron Fox or Castle. Like you just can't. You got to get to the line. You got to do something, man.
That cannot happen. That cannot happen. That's Julia. They traded him for a Karl Anthony Towns, man.
Yeah.
What would Karl Anthony Towns do in this series?
I don't think he just shot 1 for 8.
You don't think he'd have 3 points?
Yeah, I don't think he'd have 3. I don't know if they win the series still, but at the same time, it'd be hard to imagine he would shoot 1 for 8.
All right, one of the roughest talks we're gonna have here is Gobert. He was 0 for 4 for 0 points, and he's on there. He's in the game for defensive purposes. Was he stopping anybody?
No, I mean, he's another one, right? Like, I think the matchups against the Spurs, when you're playing Denver, the matchup is better for him because Jokic is going to back you down and body you, and Gobert wants to play more physical. So that the matchup against Wemby was already going to be bad. And then you saw Castle, Fox, Harper making him get out and guard, which so many teams have had success with against the Timberwolves. So I think the issue really, though, right? Like I said, this, he's going to rebound great for you in a lot of games this series. He was cleaning up the offensive boards. Something over the last 3 games, he just could not catch the ball, finish. And I think there was a point in, I think the third, when the Spurs started to extend that lead again. I think it was Harper. Harper drives, goes around Ant. Ant's obviously kind of hobbled right now. And Gobert, instead of stepping up, slips back, stays with Wemby, and Harper gets a layup, right? I think it was Harper. But the layup comes, hits it, and the look on Ant as he like glances over to Rudy and yells something was so bad, right? Where he was so upset that like you didn't come over. Again, this is 4-time defensive player of the year who the Spurs are just murdering inside and getting anything they want in there. Besides anybody named Wemby, right? Like every guard was getting in there and finishing. So I just think, yeah, like the horrible shooting from Randall. Gobert couldn't catch the ball to save his life. He couldn't finish inside of 5 feet. And again, like there's times in the series I thought, man, like should the Spurs foul Rudy? Like they didn't need to. Like he did absolutely zero on the offensive end.
Yeah.
You've already got DiVincenzo out for limited shooting. Realistically, yeah, it was Ant having to play hobbled, and then you got Terrence Shannon, but no excuses on it, right? Like they went out and beat the Nuggets with 3-time MVP Jokic without Anthony Edwards. So like the excuses can't come in, or you're not going to come in and do that against the Spurs. Yeah, they are a good team. They are sneaky depth wise. I think they never recovered from the defenses the Spurs threw at them. Like I think they showed some promise when they ran the zone against the Spurs, but they just didn't do it consistently. And then the Spurs, they would either face guard Edwards and no one would set screens for him, or they would double him and nobody seemed ready outside of maybe Mike Conley to do something with the ball. But he just, at this point in his career, is not going to go out there and be able to put the points up for it. So they're just outmatched. Obviously, Spurs are better team. You've got the 1 versus the 2 seed now, in the conference finals. So,
bro, this was such a balanced attack by the Spurs. Like everybody ate. Okay.
Yeah.
I want you, like, without looking at your phone or your notes or whatever you have around you. I don't know what you have around you, but of the whole Spurs team, right? Their bench, everybody. Who do you think did not score once tonight? Everybody scored except one player. Who do you think it was?
Was it Olnick?
No, he scored. That's how crazy this is, man. Like who else? Because you're going like kind of deep in the bench. Like who do you?
Oh wow! Was it Keldon?
It was Keldon. Keldon was the only person on the Spurs bench that did not score.
Wow, it's tough, man. He's really needed. I don't think he played this series outside of Game 5.
I'm not saying he's worthless. I'm not saying he's
but he's had a really rough series. Like he has not played good. I'd say this, like from the Spurs, the thing that was great is to start the game, Julian Champagny still could not hit a shot. And then second quarter, he hits a couple. Third quarter run, he hits it again. And I thought, good. Keldon has not looked good,
bro.
Yeah, I think the thing with Keldon is the matchups, right? He is trying to back down Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniel, like some of these guys that have length. When he went one-on-one with Edwards, good choice. Dosunmu, good choice. Shannon, good choice. I don't think he played really well this series. I think he brought it on the defensive side though and got out there. I think he rebounded well. They'll need him to come on strong in the next round. Harper, I thought, played amazing. For sure the best bench player in the series by far for either team. But Keldon again, like great game last game, come back this game to not play well again, like it doesn't bode well. But they had a couple of days off until Game 1, so hoping he can come out and be more of a factor in the next series.
Yeah, man. I think it's crazy. It was a real even attack. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players in double figures. And then everyone else scored except Keldon Johnson.
Oh.
Bro, like the Spurs came out ready to win tonight. I don't know what Mitch did, but whatever he did tonight to get him ready to just dominate. And I think at halftime we're like, man, what are they doing? Even though what they go to the half with, like up 9?
No, 14. They were double digits. I don't know if it was 13 or 14, but
14. Yeah.
It honestly probably outside of like Game 2 was like the biggest lead they've had at halftime.
Think about it. Like we were upset. Like they're only up 14 at halftime.
I think
Any
what's
other,
frustrating.
like you would be pretty happy,
Yeah,
like any other team, like bro, like
I think it's more like they lost 16 points on their lead before halftime, right? Like they're up 30. They win by 30. They were up 30 in the second quarter, right?
mhm,
And then at some point I think stretched it to like 36 and the fourth quarter like they play really well. I think it's that, right? Like that's what they have to factor in for the next round is like OKC is not a team that you can let creep back in
yeah,
because they are number one. They're going to first force more turnovers, which I don't think Minnesota did a good job of at all. So I think they applied pressure at times on the Spurs. They picked up 94 feet, but Minnesota is going to have a lot of wings, a lot of guards that are going to jump at Stephon Castle, that are going to make it hard for De'Aaron Fox. The other piece, I think, like Rudy Gobert is in there, but the Spurs didn't seem to care, and I think the Timberwolves preferred to match up Gobert with Cornette more. So you
yeah,
saw a smaller lineup of Nas Reed at the 5 for Minnesota with Wemby on the floor. Next series, like you're going to get Chet and Hartenstein at the rim, right? Like that's who's going to be there. So can the Spurs hit the open shots? Like that they honestly the first two rounds have not been great. Like Champagne has not shot great in the first two rounds. Kelton has not played good. Stephon Castle shot the best I've ever seen him shoot today. De'Aaron Fox shot really well. Like they're going to have a ton of corner threes, which is what the OKC defense gives you. So like how we knock those down, Harrison Barnes for him to come in cold and hit a couple was really really promising. So that's what the Spurs are going to have to look at for next round. Like they're going to have to make sure that they hit the shots OKC gets them and don't turn the ball over, right? Like the same mindset they have here. But I mean, they look super dominant in the wins for this round. Again, I think Wemby doesn't get ejected, they probably close out in 5.
yeah. I think we both agree that like the Spurs go as Wemby goes, and if he didn't get ejected, and this would have been over with. But let's go ahead and look ahead. You start already going there. So Spurs Thunder, look ahead. What are you excited to see? What are you not excited to see? Do you think this is going to be a really good matchup, or do you feel like one team has one edge over the other? Or I think this is a good time now also to do our predictions. So we'll
Yeah.
go ahead and do that tonight. So what are you looking forward to in this matchup?
Three key matchups, right? I think the obvious one, Wemby and Chet. I think
Yeah.
there's a certain type of vigor, disdain that Wemby seems to have for Chet. I don't think it's reciprocated. I think Chet would feel more like, "What the hell did I do to this guy?" But I think Wemby wants to put him in the basket every time he plays against him. Right? I
Mm-hmm.
think he's a
Yeah.
more focal point of the Spurs, obviously, versus Chet being able to kind of sit back. Secondary, what does it look like with Stephon Castle matched up against Shea? I think he wants that challenge. And then
You're talking about Castle? Yeah.
Steph Castle versus Shea.
Yeah.
And then I think the last one is the battle of the bench lefty, right? So AJ Mitchell versus Dylan Harper. I think Dylan Harper has played so well in all of the postseason and is so composed. I'm anxious to see what it looks like for him with the intensity ratcheted up to the next level, which he will get in OKC, right? So this is the first series and the only series, if they make it to the finals, this is the only series that they're going to start off on the road.
All right.
So
I will say this with AJ Mitchell. For those in San Antonio that don't know about AJ Mitchell, this dude's a bad dude. This dude can get to the rim. He is a killer, and I'm looking forward to the matchup here, man. Like this is AJ Mitchell against whoever he ends up against. Like that's who I'm looking forward to the most because I feel like AJ Mitchell is actually the future of this Thunder team.
yeah, I think the X factors are for OKC, Jalen Williams. Like, does he play? What does he look like in his time? Right, he's battled
Yeah,
these injuries,
he's
and I
been
think
out.
for the Spurs, it's De'Aaron Fox. Like, what does he get in that round? He is not going to have. He's going to have a quick disadvantage against everybody, but this OKC defense is set up to kind of stifle these guards. So, can he get to the rim still? I'd love to see Wemby pick and rolls with him to bring Chet out on the floor. and kind of have that reaction there. So that's what I'll look for. I think those are the two X factors, right? Like for it, I think it's going to be competitive. I think it's going to be dialed up. I'm gonna take Spurs in 7. With this, I think they are going to have to win some tough games on the
Okay.
road.
Yeah.
But I mean,
They're
I
gonna
think both
start on the
teams
road
just
for the first time this whole postseason. They're
it'd be
gonna
the only
start on the
time
road. They're
if
gonna
they get
start
to
on
the
KC.
finals. Yeah, if they get to the finals, they're going to play at home. So this is the biggest test. Can they go in and steal a game, at least one, right? In games 1 and 2 up there, and I think they can. I think they feel confident against them. I know that all the post game talks right now have that's been the number one question is like, how do you remember that the regular season is different? And I think like they're fine. I don't think they're looking to the saying, hey, like we're going to go steamroll OKC. I think they know they're in for a battle. And I think I hope it lives up to the hype. But I think the Spurs are going to come in. Again, you were 22-60 last year. Like now you're the 2 seeds. You won 62 games.
Yeah,
You're in the
man.
conference finals, and you're the pick, the second best odds to win the championship behind the reigning MVP and the reigning champs. Like I think I don't want to see you playing with house money. I think the Spurs getting to the conference finals is not enough for them probably. But I didn't think they were going to be in the conference finals before the season started. So I think like right now they have everything going into it. From an OKC standpoint, they've steamrolled the first 2 rounds, right? Like they played the Suns, they played a heavily depleted Lakers team. So
Yeah,
this
they
honestly,
haven't played nobody yet.
right? Like I think if there's a chance for the Spurs to sneak one, it's maybe game 1 where you're going in against a team who's won 8 in a row, had layoffs in each of their series to wait for the next round.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you could catch them, right? Like I think the Spurs shot well tonight. I hope it translates and continues. And that's their best bet. They're gonna have to knock down open shots, but both teams. I mean, both teams are set to win it. OKC's obviously got some experience, but I mean, the Timberwolves had a ton of experience, and they just didn't match up well enough with the Spurs. So I'll say
Yeah,
Spurs in
man.
7.
So you have Spurs in 7. So you talked about it, man. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, you know what? I think we talked about it last pod. It was like, this route that the Spurs are on, this, is probably the harder route, the more difficult route, but it was the route that they needed because
Yep.
they're
Yep.
not the Thunder. They haven't been here before. They needed this. And this is exactly what they needed to do. Like they needed to, the Trailblazers were a typical or they were they were a great. I'm not a great team, but they were a good team. Gave them a little fits there, so they played some difficult, matchups there, and then they move up. After winning that battle, and I think they thought that as far as physicality, that Blazers series was like pretty physical.
Yeah.
No, that was nothing compared to what Minnesota could give them. And the Minnesota gave them all they can get as far as physicality without getting like in too much foul trouble. Okay. So I think this has benefited the Spurs, especially being a team that hasn't been here before, unlike the Thunder. I think this has prepared them for what they're going to see next series with the physicality and everything. And I'm interested to see how the officiating is going to be, how the Spurs respond, and especially this is going to be the first series where they're going to start off on a road, so they got to go up to OKC and kind of like show them what they got. So, this is bro. Everybody wants to see this Spurs
Yeah.
Thunder.
This
This is going to
is
be awesome series. This is
from the very beginning of the season, it has said that. So I think you're gonna see some runs. I think both these teams again played 5 times, so they know each other for the regular season well at least. Outside of Jalen Williams, who I think will play the series, right? Like you've got both
yeah,
teams
he'll be
coming in
back.
healthy,
Mhm.
so it's gonna be great, man. It's gonna be good matchups. Obviously, I think you got so many storylines in it, but excited to see it, man. I think we'll
Yo,
start Monday game 1. I think.
Monday game one. Yeah. With
Yeah,
that
Monday game
said,
1.
I know you got Spurs, or no, you got Spurs in 7. I got Spurs in 6. Spurs in 6. Uh, I don't think any team can touch Wemby when he's healthy and playing the
Yeah.
right way. Obviously, there could be a lot of other anomalies and things happening to him because we've seen a concussion. We
Yeah.
see him knock a dude out, and they have to get this kicked out, kicked out a game. We've seen him shoot like career low with 3-pointers.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that happens, but I feel like as much as I respect the Thunder, I feel like the Spurs have what it takes. They got Wembanyama. They got all the right dudes in the right place, and they can go punch for punch with the reigning champs. And I think it's their time.
Yeah.
Uh,
They showed with what they could
kind of
do
came
on
out of
Ant
nowhere,
with
but yeah,
yeah.
but uh,
They
they
can
know
put
what it
pressure
takes.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, man. They can handle like superstars. I'm curious to see what they do with SGA if they're gonna get the ant treatment where he gets
Yeah.
double teamed and whatnot, and what they do with the bigs is
It's a little
are
tougher. Yeah,
is
it's a little
Chet
tougher just with OKC's ability to handle the ball well. I think the Spurs have more overall ball handlers, but it's harder because Minnesota doesn't have playmakers outside of Ant really. So it's easier to get the rock out of his hands and then be able to switch and motion off of that. Where when you're doing it with SGA and now you've got Jalen Williams with the rock or Cason Wallace with it, AJ Mitchell, these guys, like that's where you put it there. But I expect it too, though. I think the Spurs will have to say, hey, someone else will beat us, not SGA. Right.
yeah.
So I think they're gonna play that way. I'd imagine face guarding and then going from that. So
Okay, man. Yeah, I think so too. So I'm really curious to see like the matchups and what they do with him, and officiating's been so weird this. I mean, all postseason. So I'm curious to see how they're going to call the whistle here
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
this series. Are they going to stick with um, favoring like one style of play over another? Are they going to let teams be physical, or
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
tacky or not? But I feel like the Spurs are well equipped to adapt either way because they've kind of seen it all. So I'm really excited about that, man. Um, when do they play? Monday?
Yeah, Monday night.
All
Game
right.
one.
So we'll recap then. So last thing is here: Pistons versus Cavs. Uh, Pistons. Who was it that won tonight? It was I think I predicted the Cavs to close it out. Pistons won in Cleveland. So now we got a game 7 in Detroit, man. Um Obviously, I was wrong. I thought this game was going to end in 6 with Cleveland pulling it off. I thought they had too much, but you were the one that really believed in Detroit to kind of carry it out, and I think you kind of favor their matchup against the Knicks. Like, where do you well, first off, what did you think about this game here?
I thought great road win for the Pistons. Like they were dominant throughout the game. Kept and maintained the lead or got and maintained the lead. I think a great closeout, and obviously last game they lost a lead, right? I just think Detroit has just shown their toughness and the physicality that they play with has been good. So that even when Jalen Duren has not been at his best offensively and not been able to add to it, or they've struggled with shooting outside of Cade Cunningham or scoring outside of Cade Cunningham, like they have the ability to win it because they're so after it on the defensive end and on the boards. So and I just don't trust the Cavs. Like I think they just continue with the personnel they have to just not be able to close it out. I'll say like I think I picked Pistons in 7. I'm gonna stick with it. And I think then you'll have a pretty hard nosed matchup in the conference finals for the Detroit and New York.
Okay, man. Uh, I kind of I did pick the Cavs to win tonight and kind of end it. But now you kind of got me on your train of thought. I'm thinking Pistons in Game 7. So I'm gonna agree with you there. Cade Cunningham. As much as I want to doubt that dude, like that dude, he does not. He just knows how to just
Yeah.
like, and the way he was with some of these other teams, like specifically the Knicks. I think I think honestly, I thought the Pistons could give the Knicks the most trouble still,
Yeah.
but I thought the Cavs would win it just because they kind of shown that they can handle it. So it is a game 7. Anything could happen in Detroit, but I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna go with the Pistons in game 7, and it'll be Pistons and Knicks. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I think either way, either one of these teams, I think they're both losing to the Knicks, honestly. But I think the Pistons can put up a bigger fight. So
Yeah.
I'm going with Pistons in game 7.
And so they have game 7 Sunday, I believe. Now for game 7, and I think Eastern Conference Finals would kick off Tuesday.
All right, so Western Conference is Monday.
Yep. Yeah, Western Conference Monday now, and then game 7 will be Sunday for Detroit and Cleveland. I think the only thing they were looking at was time. I think it'll be 8:30 though, 8:30 start on Sunday. Or actually, sorry, they're playing East Coast, so it might be earlier. But I know that's the only thing they were choosing for was time right now. So yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm excited. So at least these games will kind of be like staggered. So you want
They're gonna come quick, yeah. They're gonna come quick. So
you have 1 and 1 and 1 and 1. I'm excited, man, for this Spurs series.
Spurs OKC is gonna be great. Yeah, can't wait for it to get started. I think now, back to drawing board, a couple days off for the Spurs. OKC's already been sitting and waiting, kind of anticipating who they're gonna play. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. Well, we'll watch the game on Sunday, and then Monday we'll see what happens with the Spurs and Thunder, and then we'll recap somewhere during the week and
for sure.
kind of get our thoughts. But
We'll
hopefully,
do maybe a recap after game 7 of Pistons Cavs. We can do. We'll put some up.
We'll be able to recap after the games, and then hopefully one of the games we could do like a live thing. I know we've been talking about that, so that'd be pretty awesome. All these late games, it's kind of hard to do that when they start at 8:30, all that. Like, man, it's tough. But I'm really looking forward to this showdown between the Spurs and the Thunder, and then kind of figuring out who wins between the Cavs and the Pistons to play against the Knicks. I know, we're wrapping up. We're coming to the end of May, and this is the greatest time. I always remember the Spurs like playing in this time of year, and it's just awesome.
There's a lot of honking going on in San Antonio right now, I'm sure.
I bet. Neither one of us are there, but I bet there's a whole lot of craziness.
It's good down there.
My brother called me earlier. He's like FaceTime me. He was like showing me downtown San Antonio.
That's what my parents were sending me photos. They were downtown, so
especially on a Friday, yeah.
Oh, good, man. Spurs are doing well. Taking to conference finals, it feels like 2014 again. So
yeah, I love San Antonio. I wish I was there right now, but yeah.
Awesome.
We'll catch up on these series, man. We'll see what happens, but for Buckets and Boards and Banner, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you make it to the end of this video. We appreciate all of you guys. All right. We'll see y'all next time. Keep watching hoops. We love y'all. See ya.
Peace.